Okay, so this is a collective reading. I'm not going to tag this because I just want this to be picked up by the algorithm. So if you see this on your For You page, this is just a collective reading. Um, what I got for this wasn't so bad. It was sort of a reading on the general energy that kind of reaffirms this kind of worldview breaking. And it was kind of an event that people have been talking about recently. It sort of feels like there's been this pressure on people. There's this, sometimes it's described as heavy energy, or like people's beliefs are breaking, the world is going through a major shift, things like that. And with this card, which means it says, I will show you the truth, basically, or I will show you who to trust. And it's in reverse. So I feel like with this, there's been this kind of truth shift. So there's just this peak of drama and people getting exposed, or you see a lot of, I guess you'd say they still title it conspiracy theorist stuff. There's a lot of new information. You may actually learn some things. I get that with some cases that try to show the truth and posts that try to show the truth. There's this sort of tone that makes it difficult for people to actually receive that information, right? So, I've also seen the synchronicity of people just advising the viewer that if you insult someone, they're more likely to resist it, even if it's good for them. So with this card, I get that you will actually receive information without resisting it. You will start to expand your worldview. So you will start to get a bit more darkness. So if your range was mostly light energy, I get that you will kind of expand on more dark viewpoints, which, this can be seen as like they bring up true crime cases on TikTok, or they bring up more darker things like trafficking and whatever it is that may show up on your algorithm. I know there are many. There are also, some things that show up on my For You page as well that's very dark, and it kind of just, shoots out at you. They don't really, they don't really put content warnings or anything, but I get that now there's a lot of people that actually want to receive knowledge, like deep inside, even with all, there's a lot of frustration, a lot of people complaining and kind of lashing out. It's like there's this unrest inside them against, well, to tap into it, like what I'm getting, it's dead internet theory. They call like it's content slop, content that feels shallow, things that just don't feel like they're scraping at the depth that you want to get into. So even if you're not as a spiritual person, or you haven't gone into as much, I get that ourselves are just craving depth and wanting to get deeper into knowledge and develop spirituality. You may develop spirituality and go deeper into that field, into metaphysics, if you haven't already, or if you've been kind of just even to your standard, you understand that it's, haven't really done too much, kind of like on the surface, kind of just slightly touching on things, or the very basics of what people go into when it comes to spirituality. Like what is most commonly passed down in these little eras. There are these eras where people, uh, where a lot of people gain this information all at once. And for this era that I'm specifically that I'm mentioning, it was kind of more lighter. Like it was kind of like light psychic, like psychic stories. It's not really. Maybe if it were horror stories, it would be supernatural. But yeah, just very light. Like it. very casual discussion. And when you think about it, it's surprising because people were just casually talking about psychicism and spirituality and supernaturals and everything happening. And it's like they didn't really resist it, like the truth of it. So there was this time, yeah, like recently, like I'm getting like 2016, but also, yeah, it's like 2016. And I think around that time, a few years after that time, there was like these, yeah, these points where people were talking really casually about all these things happening, and there just wasn't any resistance at all. So it is interesting how at times there are just these openings where people just talk so freely about it. Like, just setting down the barriers of whether something is true or not, or whether something is to be shot down or argued with on the internet. So, onto this next card. I get that now is the time that is going to be pushing people to find this information out for themselves. So, again, this reaffirms the need and want of information and how people on the inside are craving knowledge so much, and not just superficial knowledge, but something much deeper. So there's going to be a lot of people that will see these TikTok posts that will actually help them. So they won't really have you won't really have a negative reaction, but you'll actually be curious and studious to what that means and everything else that really, like, it's a really strong urge to get into these things. So yeah, I get that there's a lot of frustration with finding shallow material. So the next step is to just seek out that information, since I won't say it'd be too risky to look into some on the deeper level with spirituality and supernaturals and what people are wanting for this collective. Just yeah, just look around for communities. There are communities, and of course you have to. This is a time where you practice your intuition and kind of senses. If a content creator as an off vibe to you. And well, there's certain like titles and thumbnails where you can kind of gauge, basically try to get it into more personal things, like not really the headlines that try to bait you with things, just something more personable or just more descriptive, and just start going down that rabbit hole. And that will just be the beginning step into actually getting into that to depth.